33 days until Inauguration Day. Donald Trump already putting people in place to get things done in government. That includes appointing Elon Musk and Vivek Ramaswamy to lead a new Department of Government Efficiency. Creating DOGE was one of the first things he did since getting reelected, and now lawmakers are already eyeing a crackdown on federal spending and the workforce.
Our next guest is one of the founding members of the DOGE caucus and is leading the introduction of a legislative package targeting government waste related to COVID-19 ahead of Trump's second term in office.
Yeah, let's welcome in Oklahoma Senator James Lankford. Senator, always great to see you. You have debuted two bills in the last 24 hours, one to address cases of unemployment fraud and another to extend the statute of limitations to prosecute COVID-19 recovery fund fraud. I know that you've said that making the government efficient isn't a partisan issue. It's an American one. Elaborate.
Yeah. And the basics of it is there shouldn't be a Democrat, Republican, independent search on government waste. We should all look for government waste. There shouldn't be some partisan issue where only Republicans are doing this. For 10 years, I put out a waste report year after year after year we call the federal fumbles. And I've invited all of my colleagues to say, go look on your own. This is not the only waste in federal government. We put out 50 different things this year that we see as wasteful. Go look at your own search. Then let's pull all those together and let's actually fix it. Year after year after year, we put that out and put that challenge down, and we don't have a lot of takers on it. So at this point, we're now compiling all of those things, getting them to the president, to Vivek, and to Elon Musk, and saying, here's a hot list here. Take what you can do, the executive branch. We'll do what we can do in the legislative branch, and let's move this from it needs to be done to done.
You know, Senator, you've mentioned that you want federal employees to help with the DOGE efforts. And look, as much as we talk about the bureaucrats and the bureaucracy, most of them actually want to do their jobs. Most of them actually want to make their departments better. Have you heard from any of these federal employees that they're willing to come forward and work with DOGE to save taxpayer money?
We actually have, and we invite more folks to be able to come and engage on this. We've got whistleblowers that are talking about inefficiency. We've also got folks that are just contacting us, talking about supplies. For instance, end of the year, this huge purchasing that happens in some agencies and entities of things that are just wasteful. We've got how they handle power, how they handle their workspace, or even if they're going into work at all. Social Security Administration just made a deal for the next 5 years that 90% of their employees don't have to go into the workplace at all, which means individuals around the country that actually go into a Social Security office to be able to visit with someone and get an answer for a loved one's death or their own disability or whatever it may be are not going to find anybody there. And so here's the challenge. We've got folks that know what's actually happening that are on the ground. We're inviting them to come help us be able to fix the problem because they're taxpayers as well.
Senator, I want to ask you about the Senate confirmation hearings that are coming up. I understand you met with RFK Jr. and Pete Hegseth yesterday. How were those meetings?
Both those meetings were really good. Obviously, I had a long list of questions. There's lots of issues on national security that we'll work on with Pete Hegseth. We've got a very dangerous world. We've got to talk about procurement, which was a lot of our conversation yesterday, how we actually purchase things. We all get frustrated. Talking about DOGE and all these two topics slamming together. We talk about if we're going to be a more effective, more lethal military, then we've got to have really well-trained, equipped individuals, but we've also got to have good technology for them to be able to use on the battlefield on it. And right now, the procurement process is a mess, and it's been a mess for decades. So we've got to have somebody to focus on that. Pete Hegseth promised that's an area that he's going to focus in on, and it's really important. And for RFK Jr., quite frankly, we talked a lot about abortion, and we talked about new development of drugs, and we talked about what the plan is to be able to help that agency actually focus on the health of Americans, not just on political guidelines.
You know, Senator, for all the talk that we talk about saving government money, cutting spending, and then here we are with a 1,500-page continuing resolution that popped last night. I'm sure you've read every word of it because, you know, you'd have to be a speed reader to get through that overnight. But, you know, a lot of Republicans, especially in the House, but even a few in the Senate, are calling this thing garbage. Take a listen.
It's a total dumpster fire. I think it's garbage. This is what Washington, D.C. has done. This is why I ran for Congress to try to stop this. And sadly, this is happening again. I think that it's shameful that people that celebrate DOGE coming in, and yet we're going to vote for another $1 billion to be added to the deficit. And so it's ironic.
You know, Senator, I know at least two of your colleagues, Senator Scott, Senator Hawley, have already come out and expressed their opposition to this, or at least their big concerns about it. Oh, do you have any kind of initial take? I won't put you on the spot for a hard yes or no quite yet.
Yeah, I would say two things on it. It's 1,500 pages. We literally had our staff, we started breaking it up into pieces and everybody going through sections because no human being could get through the 1,500 pages overnight and to be able to go through it. So we're taking sections of it. And then we'll get back together later on today to be able to say, what did you see? What did you see? And go through it. Second thing is, I hear a lot of Republicans that are attacking the speaker on this. The person that held all this up was actually Chuck Schumer. So it's ironic that Republicans are attacking Republicans. Republicans in the House, they went through appropriations. They went through committee. They brought things to the floor. They were ready to do this months ago. Chuck Schumer is the one who slammed it all into right before Christmas. Didn't have a single vote in the Senate, wouldn't bring any of these issues up, even things like health care that passed unanimously out of the Senate dealing with pharmacy benefit managers. Chuck Schumer wouldn't even bring up and is trying to slam it at the end of the year. So I wish Republicans would stop attacking the speaker and would start putting the focus on where the real problem was. And it's Chuck Schumer didn't bring any of this stuff up, and he created this mess.
Well, we'll have the speaker on in about 20 minutes or so. I'll pass along the message to him.
Thanks so much, Senator. Great to see you.
You bet. Good to see you. Merry Christmas, everybody.
Merry Christmas.